Hey there, boys and girls, it is Roxors, and I play games, and today is Theorycraft Thursday on the channel here, where we like to theorize about different cards and how they interact and what makes this game fun. So, in the coming weeks, or I'll say at least for the past few weeks, we have been doing a lot of fun wizard builds, and don't get me wrong, we've taken them into ranked to see their viability, and we've won a fair amount of games. But also, side note, I am using a mic today, so if you are a regular at the channel, first thing, thank you, but secondly, please leave in the comments if the audio is better. Hoping to pick up, less background noise and anything like that, but also fear that I'm too loud. I don't know. But, where was my train of thought? Oh, right. Theorycraft Thursday. We are building new decks. Obviously, I've got some missions here. Well, for those of you that don't know, and I will leave a link in the comments below, but a couple new cards for the set Onslaught, which is due out November 27th, have been spoiled. Both of them are spirits. One of them's a champion, one of them's a unit. Spoiler alert, I guess, in itself, it seems that some of us will be getting some spoilers possibly in the coming weeks that we can make some content about. So do stay tuned to the channel. Obviously, I will advertise it as such if I am graced with one of them. But anywho, so today I want to focus on some ranked. As any playtesting we do, I typically do it in casual, but I kind of want the idea of making something competitive. With the spoilers, I've just got my, I guess my interest has waned back to death. Did some spring cleaning and Bone Theory, some of you might remember from Theorycraft Thursday, which was a pretty cool deck. But I'd like to kind of explore. I still think ranked is very much of an aggro format. I understand that there's been a lot of changes to destruction. Some of my other exemplars have talked about the changes in destruction. Personally, I don't think the changes are, one, enough, and two, meaningful. But to each their own, so it is what it is. So I'd like to look at death from an aggro standpoint, and I'd like to evaluate some of the guys, some of the champions at least, so let's just narrow that down to who can quest fast. Some people like to look at champions like Skeleton Champion, right? Easy questing. Not necessarily. When I think of easy questing, I think of obviously the ease that these corners can rotate. And when I say ease, some people and a lot of people will agree with me that like removal isn't the easiest thing to do, because it also requires your opponent to play something across from said champion. So not exactly easy. You're requiring that somebody help you, for lack of a better word. Same thing with units. Units are the easiest things in the game, I would think, but if you place a guy that's got 3 corners, well, you're not exactly speed questing this guy. You rotated 1 corner, but now you gotta wait 3 turns for him to come off. So something like a Feasting Vargeist, something like, or even like something like this, right? This rotates once and then it's done. Yeah. So I think the easiest guys to quest are the ones that you can get like a 2-for-1. So it's like unit damage. Something like this guy, unit healing. So you could play, and this isn't exactly novel, but you could play like a Feasting Vargeist. Unit spins. Obviously you get the 1 healing now, but you can't complete 2 quests at once. Next turn, when he rotates to heal, you get that second one. And then you shoot the moon with, where are you? Here. Plays a unit, right? X does nothing. Next turn, he hits for 1, heals for 1. That gets your second one. Next turn, X does nothing. And then he does damage, which finishes that third. So this is an easy quester, I think, in that there's 2 units that you can just pair up with it, and it does what it has to do, right? So I guess with that being said, why don't we start with one of them? I also like the fact that they're pretty cheap, and they give you 2 health. And it also gives you a little bit of sustainability that if you get down to a low single digit, you're not exactly dead. Let me see if there's anybody else. I could see like a Barrow White King being pretty easy. You know, play Risen Guy, play an ability while it's rotating, and then it does damage. So I like that. I don't like how it's damage then Risen here. I feel like that's a little wonky, but Hell Knight's also pretty good, I think, too. Alright, so why don't we stick with, I guess this guy could be similar in that, you know, you could play like a tactical or a curse strike or something, and you play that same healing Mordant that, you know, does damage, and then when it gets to its 2, you'll get that healing, so that's not bad. And I remember the Spirit Torment being, or the Reaping Karen Wraith being pretty good too. Same thing, damage, you know, Frightful Strike, and then play a unit, get a healing, play another ability. So this wants you to play a lot of abilities, which I'm not saying we don't want to do. And I do like the idea between these 2 that you don't need a spirit, you know, because that could just kind of cloud up what you're trying to do. I think another cool effect, and I don't remember if I made a video on my Mordant Burn list that had the double Ghoul Kings, but I think playing a single gives you enough flexibility to do some stuff, especially in an aggro, if we're trying to make an aggro deck. Let's see, that'd be 12 points. And that's not that bad, because then he kind of buffs the Mordants next to you. I mean, if we sit there, we have nothing that says, well, obviously he needs 3 Mordants. He's not the easiest quester, I will say. And he needs a Mordant too, so we kind of want to play Mordant. So if I look at units, a lot of the Mordants are really good. I think we need to play, and as always, I will start with 3. I think we need to play 3 of these guys. They're Mordants, they heal, so they'll get a lot of our quests done. This guy's a beating. It's 4 corners, and I don't think there's anything that fast forwards these guys. But it's a lot of damage. Let me see. And the other Mordant is the Crypt Flare, which I really like. I'm also entertaining the idea when people make death decks. I feel like they immediately go 3 Devours, 3 Charging Black Knights, and 3 Fearsting Vargheists, right? A lot of removal. Seems good. And I've talked on the channel before about how removal is great, but for some, when we're going up against other aggro lists like Destruction, to a certain extent Chaos, sometimes having removal isn't proactive enough. You know, somebody plays a Brute Smasher that does, you know, it's the orc that does 2 damage when it hits and then 2 damage when it rotates. Well, we're a turn too late. They play that for 2. We play Feasting Vargheist to get rid of it. It rotates now for 2, and it's done its 4 damage. Yeah, sure, they're not going to stack on top of it now, but you know, we've already taken 4 damage to the face, and I'm not sure we're playing that correctly. And there's no way that you're just going to play this guy to do 1 damage and, you know, essentially shut down a lane for a turn. So I'd like to kind of not think of removal. I mean, I think we're going to have 3 Devours. I think that's just a gimme. Also, with some recursion, because if we're not playing Risen, we don't really have a way to get things back. And if we're going to play the Ghoul King, I feel like we want to play Frightful Strikes and possibly even Curse Strikes. So let's get those going. But anyway, I'd like to kind of look at making a list without, you know, some of those top players. Obviously, we're looking for aggro. I think one of the most aggro guys is the Svargeist here. It's a vampire, but it'll get our unit quests rotating, which I think we needed. Yep, the first one there. Not going to do anything there, so let's go back to champions and see if there's anything that guy would be useful on. I mean, skeleton champion, it's easy. Let's see, what else? We could do one of these guys. He is a Mordant, so he'll get buffed up with that, and then he just needs simple, you know, unit, and then unit damage should be a pretty easy thing to do. All right, let's throw that guy in there. That gives us 5 more points. So can we fit this guy, or is it worth it? Reduce damage received from highlight champion's abilities by 2. Pretty niche. Damage, unit, healing. It could be good, but then at that point, I don't know why we just don't. We're at 32 health. He'll get us another 1. 33, that's pretty good. At that point, and we also could play this guy. He's a Mordant too, but then we're looking to obviously play more spells, and I don't know how many we're going to end up playing. Let me think. I think at this point we're just playing another. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why not to play another courtier, especially if we get down to a low health and we get 2, and now we're at 34. All right, well, if we really need healing, then we've got the Mordant, obviously, but I think, even though it's not the most aggro of lists, but when we're thinking about aggro, we're also thinking about we're going to be playing a lot of cards, so we don't necessarily want to find situations where we have to just wait and draw. So I think if we were to have like a Feasting Vargeist, 1, we get our healing quests done, and 2, obviously they can remove our guy, sure, but there's gonna be situations where we can play 2 cards knowing that we're gonna draw 2 off of him the next turn. So I think the Feasting Vargeist is a no-brainer there. Alright, so now we're at 21. We haven't even looked at spells. We only have 1 guy to do spells. Scrying Pool, no. I mean, I like setting our hand, but we don't have any card draw. Return only brings back these guys. I think if we want to do damage, I think Frightful Touches might be the best bet. It also gives our king something to do. And against a lot of the other aggro builds, when they're just throwing down a lot of guys, a lot of units, hand disruption can be huge. So it also kind of dictates where we're forcing people to play units. So there'll be situations where we get really lucky and we're across from a wizard, and you know, it's a good card then. I don't know if we're playing tacticals. I don't know if we care about it. Alright, what are we at? We got 12 units. Probably feel like we need more of those. 3 spells. Alright, let's look at the... So we got 2 healing corners. We got 6 healing guys. You guys have heard my math before. Typically take the quest rotations and multiply it by 2.5. So as long as we have 5 cards that heal, we're good there. If you want to go faster or guarantee that that's going to happen, you obviously add more cards. So we have 6 cards that heal for those corners specifically. Kind of looking at the fact that I might not complete his quest, but maybe I will. We also could throw more damage in here, like an opportunity strike, something like that. First turn opportunity strike with a you know, Ghoul King is pretty strong. Let's look back at the units, because I think I am, you know, because if this guy makes it all the way around just in the corner of the field or something, you know, that's 6 damage. That's a beating. I'm also looking at these guys as another form of healing, and it also pumps, you know, it stays. We can use it when we need to, you know, if we're trying for like a big turn or something. And it also buffs those frightful touches to 6, which is huge. Maybe we do 3 of those. Is that too many? Yeah, I think I might like that. All right. Mordant. I really like bat swarms. I really do. I feel like 3 damage isn't huge, but I see it very similar to this. This does 3 damage and heals you for 3, right? Well, is this no different? You know, it mitigates 3 as long as it's across from a unit. So I don't know. I think being beast is a little wonky. It would have been cool if it was like vampire beast or something, but yeah, I really like bat swarms. Maybe we play like 2 of these big guys, or maybe, well, if we play 2, we got 1 more card, right? And I don't know if like 1 spell is gonna do it. Maybe just a single black hunger. You know, there'll be a turn where we've got a couple Mordants, we draw this, and that's a beating. Yeah, it's a little spicy. Kind of like that. Because you don't want like 2 or 3, because then there's gonna be turns where you have that in your hand and like a vampire, and you just look bad. We could drop a Mortis Engine for critical as well. I mean, that's, I don't know. Also, there's Call of the Grave, which just gains a health, so you can get that corner rotated really quickly, and you can shuffle 2 units. And it's also an ability. How many abilities do we need? These guys don't need any. Oh wow, we don't even really need abilities. That's awesome. Alright then. I mean, I think we're in a good place here. I'm trying to think if there's one thing I can take out to get that 3rd. I don't want to take out the one of the Black Hunger. I'll take out 1 Mortis Engine, because I could also see me just having that on the field. And, you know, then it stays when I need it, kind of thing. So I could put it out there without any spells in my hand and wait for the Frightful Touch, you know? Okay. So there we go. Now we've got the full, so how many units? 17? Seems like a good number for doing aggro. Alright. So I don't necessarily know what to call this. Did Bone Theory. Can we do Mordant? Mordant Theory? Yeah, it fits. Yeah. So more or less just trying to see if this can keep up with the format, really. You know, I got to think about everything. Obviously, you're going to see your destruction, you're going to see your chaos. You know, can it get through some mitigation of like order, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Oh, well, we should probably put some blessings in here, right? This one should be quick. If we're going to do damage, I think we're doing Turmoil of Souls. Let me actually read this now. If there's a champion that costs 7 or more, opposite highlighted Mordant champion, which is all of our guys, increase the damage from that Mordant champion's units and abilities by 3. Wow. That's a little bonkers. And it doesn't like rotate or go away or anything like that, so we can kind of just play into it. That's really interesting. You know what? Let's play it. Just for the hell of it, right? What else? We want damage, right? So Carrion Feast and Morbid Terror? Can we play without Supernatural Horror? Or Orb? I don't know. Alright. Seems risky, but it's all about risking it for the biscuit. Alright, so now we're actually done. We have a deck. Alright guys, join me in the next video for some gameplay. We'll dip our toe into casual and then go straight to ranked. Rockstars or boxers, I will see you soon, guys.